morning, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you are new to my channel, I thought I would do a quick little background about myself because I have been getting some new followers and new subscribers. So I just want to do a brief intro. Like I said, my name's Jamie. I've been selling on eBay for going on 4 years plus actually. And I started when my daughter, who's now 4, was just a little baby. At the time, I was also working on my bachelor's degree, and I've just been building my business ever since. It is now how I make my living. I mostly sell gently used clothing that I find at thrift shops. I also dabble in wholesale and new items. So that's just a little bit about me. I also sell on Poshmark and Amazon, and then a little bit here and there on Bonanza, Mercari, and Etsy. So mostly you'll hear me talking about eBay because that's where I make the bulk of my money. So normally I do haul videos, or many of you know I'll do like my what sold videos, but today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. I want to talk about how I have been able to increase my eBay sales substantially over the past month or so. I think this is a really important topic because you always need to be conscious of your business model, what you can change to improve, how you can affect sales. And, excuse me, sorry. I do have bronchitis, so if I am coughing intermittently, I apologize for that. I am taking antibiotics, so it's starting to get a little better, but like I said, I wanted to do this video right now as we're approaching the holiday season. I want to help people increase their sales as mine have increased, and I think I have some good tips for how to do that. I apologize if I'm looking down. I have my phone here with all of my notes. I want to make sure I cover all the bases and the things that I wanted to discuss today, which I think are really important things to keep in mind when you're selling on eBay. So basically, my sales for the past few months have been hovering around, I would say, about $1,500 to $2,000 a week, which is good. Don't get me wrong. But I knew that I could do better, and I wanted to, so I actively set out to increase those sales, and I did. So last week, for instance, we did $2,600 in sales, which was our best week on eBay. And that wasn't by accident. That was by being active in, setting a goal to have those sales increase. And I wanted to talk, first of all, about setting goals. Sorry, let me look at my notes here. I wanted to talk about setting goals. So, interestingly enough, previously when I was setting goals for eBay, I would set goals that were like dollar amount goals. Like, I want to do X amount in sales, which is great. Like, you should have goals. But unfortunately, I don't think that setting a sales goal is the best way to go about it, because that is like a result goal. So instead of setting a goal that is a result, you need to set goals that actually get you to that result. So you need to set goals that are more based on things that you can do on a daily basis to get your sales up. So it also doesn't make any sense to set dollar goals because, it's not, you're not just going to say, I want to do $500 in sales. You can't dictate that. You can't force people to buy your stuff. You can make your stuff more appealing. So that's what I've been doing. I found, I can actually control my sales a bit more just by taking some simple steps. First of all, I set listing goals. So for instance, my sales have increased since I set daily and weekly listing goals. So say for instance, for the week, I like to list now between 200 and 250 items per week. And that changes based on what I have going on that week. I'm in law school. So, and like I said, I have a 4-year-old daughter. So for me, the week changes. So for instance, I might have more going on one week, and then so I can list less. So like I said, between 200 and 250. So then I break that down per day. So I say per day, Sunday, I plan on listing 20 items. Monday, I've got a little more time. I can list 50 items. So I literally break it down. I keep track of it. I write down how many I was actually able to list that day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I adjust it as I go. I add a little more to this day, take away some on that day. And that has actually made my sales quite predictable and steady. Just doing that. And so listing every day, setting those goals, that has helped tremendously. I also have obviously sourcing goals because when you're listing 200 to 250 items a week, you need to have items to list. That's very important too. So I set sourcing goals. And obviously you're not going to be able to go into Goodwill or wherever you go sourcing and say, I'm going to find 20 items because you don't necessarily know that. You don't know what they have that day. So I try to basically just say, all right, well, I'm going to go thrifting 4 times a week. And if I can get all the items that I need to get, great. If I don't, then I need to add another stop on the thrifting circuit. And I do that. So that's how I get those items, and I have them to list to meet my listing goals. So that all sounds very basic, I know, but I'm telling you, writing it out, having a plan is the way to go about this. Previously, I was actually just sourcing as much as I possibly could. And I was trying to stuff as much into a day as I could. I was listing as much as I possibly could. Sometimes I would list 70 items a day. Sometimes I would only be able to list 20. After those 70 item days, I was exhausted. After the 20 item days, I felt discouraged. Why did I only list 20 items? So the great thing about setting a quota for yourself is you list it, it's done, you move on to whatever else you have to do that day, and you can literally, what better feeling than checking something off the list? You did it, you listed how many items you set out to list that day. And be realistic. Don't put 100 items a day if you can't do 100 items a day. But I'm telling you, that has made my sales very consistent, very steady. That is the way to go about it for me. So maybe try that and see if that works for you. Another thing I wanted to talk about is listing duration. So on eBay, you can list items for, I think, it's a range, between like 3 days or 30 days or good till canceled, which means it's a 30-day listing that automatically gets relisted if the item doesn't sell after 30 days. So previously I was doing good till canceled listings. And I was doing that for the number one reason was that, like I said, I'm in law school. I didn't have a lot of time to be constantly relisting items that were ending. And so I was doing good till canceled. And my sales were okay doing that. So I kept going with that. Then I thought, you know what? There's items that just keep getting relisted that are not selling. And I need these items to sell. They've been around for a long time. They just keep getting relisted and not selling. That's costing me fees. That's items taking up space in my home. So I thought, I'm going to go back to, because in the years past, I'd done the 30-day listings. So I thought, I'm going to go back to the 30-day listings and see what happens. And that has been amazing. It has worked very, very well for me. It's not even as much work as I thought it was going to be with relisting those items. And the beautiful thing about it is that after the item ends, after 30 days, then you can go back in and you can look at that item and say, why hasn't it sold? What is wrong with this item? And actually, I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with the item. What is wrong with this listing that people aren't buying it? So I discovered as I went through those items some common problems that I was able to fix, and then realized that the item started selling after I fixed some of these problems. So here were some of the problems. I got them right here. I noticed there were title problems. So the keywords in my title, there was just some listings had missing information that I would never have caught if I hadn't revisited these listings. And so sometimes it was missing the size. I mean, can you imagine? Like, I didn't have the size in the title. I didn't have a proper description of the item. Maybe there was something about the item, like if it was a jacket, I didn't put that it was tweed or something like that. Just really simple things. Just adding those simple details that you you missed, and we're all human. And when you're building the title, for me, I know I just go really fast. I'm like practically on autopilot when I'm making it. So I am prone to make errors. So I had been fixing the titles and noticing a big difference in just fixing the titles. Another problem was that the item would be like in the wrong store category. For instance, I had a woman's top that for I don't know for how long, probably way too long, was in the girls category. It was in the children's clothing category, and I'm not talking about my store category. I'm talking about the eBay category. So maybe that's why that item never sold. It was clearly listed. Someone that was looking for a woman's top would see that and say, well, it kind of looks like a woman's top, but it's in the girls category. So I'm not going to buy that. I'm not sure. So I was able to fix that. Another big problem I saw was that on some items, I was overcharging for shipping. And that is a big deal. I mean, generally when I list, like if it's a jacket or something, I'll automatically put, because I do charge shipping on most of my priority items that will ship priority, so 16 ounces or higher, I do charge shipping. So I was looking and I realized that by just doing a blanket upcharge for the shipping on like a jacket or something, I was looking and actually realizing that that item is 16 ounces or less. That could go first class. So I was overcharging the shipping. I fixed that. You know, I don't want to overcharge people and I want my items to be appealing. So I was able to fix that. Photos, some of my photos, sorry, the light, it's morning here and the sun isn't entirely up, so I had to use these lights. So I know there's some shadowing going on. Maybe it's adding a dramatic effect, hopefully. But so anyways, the photos. I could see that my photos weren't up to par. All right, no problem. You know, I'll fix that. I can go find the item and I can redo the photo. I know it sounds tedious, but you want that item to spell. It's been around long enough. So now I use a stark white background for my items, and that has helped a lot. I think at first I used to use kind of like a faux wood background, which looks really nice. And I don't want to tell anybody that is absolutely in love with their background to switch to all white. I don't want to do that because you know that's a creative choice that people make. But for me, I find that the stark white background makes the item more appealing. It really showcases the item better. I spent a lot of time working on my lighting system. I feel like that has increased my photo quality as well. I could probably do a whole video about that, so maybe I will if anybody's interested. So anyway, so just improving the photos helped a lot. Also doing the mobile checker. That's an option that you have on the advanced listing process. When you do the advanced listing, you can actually just click the button and it shows you a little picture of a cell phone and shows you if your description is mobile friendly. So you can't have anything anymore like active content. Like previously, before when active content was allowed, I had a link in my description to the rest of my eBay store, which was nice, but you know, all of a sudden eBay says you can't have it, so it needed to go. A lot of my older listings had that active content. By using the mobile checker, revisiting those items, I was able to get rid of all that active content. This is an ongoing process, so some of my older listings might still. I've been working my way through all my listings, so I've been removing all that. All right, so another thing I wanted to talk about was running sales. Right now, eBay they're phasing out Markdown Manager, which was the way that you previously ran sales, and now they're doing promotions, which is another mechanism for starting sales. Well, there seems to be some bugs with the promotions. I'm sure it's a great system, and once they get all the bugs worked out, I'll be using that, but for now I'm still using Markdown Manager. And basically what I do is every week I start a sale on all of my listings. So I think it's like Sundays or Mondays that I do it. And I think like 15 to 20% is kind of my sweet spot. I don't really do sales any higher than that because I feel like my items are pretty reasonably priced, and I have great success with 15 to 20% off. I'm not saying that at some point I won't do a 30, 40, 50, but right now I'm very comfortable at 15 to 20. I feel like that actually leads to quite a few sales. Um, that brings me to another topic that I wanted to discuss, and I think this is one of the best decisions that I made for my business, and one of the biggest reasons that sales have been as good as they have been. So I decided to take items that maybe aren't like the most fantastic brands in the world. I mean, they're not super high dollar items, but they're basic items and they're good items. And these are items that I pay literally less than $1 for. And what I decided to do is, instead of doing my old system of pricing things just a couple dollars higher than what I'm comfortable taking and then putting best offer on them, instead of doing that, I literally just take that item, I put it for fixed price, no best offer, with free shipping. I put at the lowest price I would be comfortable taking on best offer anyways. And for me, that has ended up being like, I pretty much anything that's $12.99 or less, I take off best offer. And I was kind of nervous about it because best offer has been my strategy from pretty much, for the past couple of years. But what I noticed was that stuff started flying. It started selling so well. I think people look at it and they're like, this is no muss, no fuss. This is free shipping. This looks like a good item. The photos are great. I feel comfortable spending $12 on this. It's fine that I can't make an offer. $10, $8, sure, that's good to me. I'll take it. And I also feel like eBay, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I would love to have some discussion about this in the chat. I feel like eBay is sort of disincentivizing best offer and auctions. I know, that sounds crazy. It sounds controversial. But with eBay's new guaranteed shipping rolling out, and I'm going to discuss how I figured this out from a buyer's perspective as a buyer. With this guaranteed shipping rolling out, so the guaranteed shipping is telling the buyer, if you buy this item now, you're guaranteed to get it by this date. And they're telling sellers, get this item out on time so that you can meet this guaranteed shipping deadline. So that only applies to items that sell at fixed price with no best offer, and it doesn't apply to auction. So I think, in my mind, I'm thinking eBay might be slightly disincentivizing auction and best offer. Is that crazy? I don't know. It's been working though. So I want to make sure that they are able to buy something at fixed price. Maybe, I think sometimes when you have best offer on something, people feel compelled to make an offer. So if it's just priced reasonably, it's just fixed price, they may just go ahead and buy it. I'm telling you, I sell 9 to 10 of these fixed price items with no best offer a day. And I think that's a large reason that my sales have increased. These are not loss leaders. I'm not taking a loss on these items. I want to be very clear about that. These are items I am still turning a profit on. It's increasing my conversion rate, which boosts everything else back up. So anything that I want to sell for over $12, I'm still putting best offer on. I don't know if that's going to change in the future, but that's what I'm doing. It has increased my conversion rate, like I said, and the importance of increasing your conversion rate is that it boosts you in the search. So one day I was curious, because right now I have a premium store subscription on eBay, and I thought, I wonder if it's time for me to change to an anchor store. I've been hovering on the verge of that being financially feasible. Based on the amount of listings and my sales and whatnot, that it would not financially feasible. I'm sorry, that it would financially make sense to spend $300 plus on an anchor store. So I'm more of a cautious person, so I kind of put my feelers out in the community. I asked on Facebook and Instagram if people thought that having an anchor store, excuse me while I have some coffee here. It is morning time here. I need to wake up. So I put my feelers out on Facebook and Instagram and asked, does having an anchor store increase your sales? And somebody in one of the Facebook groups, I don't remember his name, otherwise I would give him a giant shout out. He was like, no, I increasing your conversion rate increases your sales. And I was like, you know what? I knew that all along, but sometimes you just need someone to tell you, to remind you, get that conversion rate up. You want to have sales. eBay, it's been said a million times, eBay likes an active store. So these items are increasing my sales because they've increased my conversion rate. And the bonus is not taking a loss on these items. Awesome. So that has helped a lot. And so after I started doing it, I did something that I should have done from the beginning. I should have been thinking, like, why would this work? And it wasn't until later that I realized why it was working. I think the guaranteed shipping has a lot to do with it, but also from a buyer's perspective. I recently, my daughter, she's going to be Tafiti from Moana for Halloween this year. And Disney hasn't come out with the Tafiti costume, so I have to basically piece it together myself. So I needed just a basic green size 5 solid green shirt for my daughter, long sleeve. Okay, I thought I'm going to look on eBay first. I'm going to see if I can find this very simple item on eBay for a good price. And I want it soon because I don't want to put this off. I'm making this costume. Let's get it rolling. So I went through a bunch of eBay listings. And that is really the best way to figure out, what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, is just looking through, seeing what other people are doing that is right or wrong. Well, basically, a lot of the stuff, it was not in my price range. I don't need anything that's like super name brand. I just needed something simple. She's going to wear it once, whatever. So I narrowed it down to a few things. And one listing in particular really caught my attention because this item, it was like a Granimals, or however you say that. It's a Walmart brand t-shirt, which is fine. That serves my purposes just fine. And I thought it's solid green. The picture was great. It had the stark white background. It looked clean. Beautiful. It did not have best offer on it, and it had free shipping. Perfect. But it was the price. The price turned me completely off. They had priced this little top at $8.99, and I couldn't, even if I wanted to, make an offer on it to see if they would take less. And I'm sorry, but I mean, I hate to be this person because I know, like, as eBay sellers, we're like, we just don't like buyers like telling us like this should be priced at that. But I knew in my mind, I'm like, this item is grossly overpriced. And like I said, I struggle to say this because I don't like it when people say this to me, but that item, it could be bought at Walmart for $3. Like, why are you selling it on eBay for like $8.99? And I'm just saying all this to prove a point. I know maybe it looks kind of bad. Like, why don't you just pay that $8.99 that eBay, support eBay, blah, blah, blah. But think about it from the buyer's perspective. They're looking at that item, it's overpriced, and great, you have all these other good things going for it. But I couldn't do it. So I ended up purchasing the thing I needed on Amazon because I got the 2-day Prime shipping, guaranteed shipping. eBay, I think it's actually going to be a good thing from the buyer's perspective. You want that item, you want to know when it's coming, when you can expect it by. So I purchased it on Amazon, and I'm also an Amazon seller, so I don't feel too badly about that. But the point I'm making is, if you're going to do that, if you're going to have items at a fixed price, and pricing is an art. Honestly, it's not something that you're going to get good at like immediately, but be very conscious. Be conscious of what that item is selling for new. Go through solds on eBay and see what has that item been selling for. Be realistic when doing this because I hate for everybody to try this and say like, oh, well, I want to get $14 for this shirt, so I'm going to list it for $14 and I'm going to take off best offer and this is magically going to sell for $14. No. That's not how it works. It has to be a very fair price. Buyers have a lot of options with Amazon, so many marketplaces now online. You want to be competitive. So set competitive prices. And even if you're not making a fortune on that item, be aware of your conversion rate that is increasing when you offer deals like that. So I think maybe I've covered all my points. Let me glance through real quick. I want to make sure that I have everything because, one last thing I want to talk about. Promoted listings. Um, I want to have a real frank conversation about promoted listings. I've been using promoted listings since eBay rolled them out. They first rolled them out for, excuse me, new multiple quantity items. And then rolled out the program where you could use them on used, unique, one-of-a-kind items. So I've been with the program ever since then. But that's not what increased my sales. I want to be very honest about that. It's just not what did it for me. I wonder about promoted listings just because I don't really have any way of telling if that item would have sold without the promoted listings. The nice thing is that it is a real minimal risk to do promoted listings because it's only like 4 to 5. I do like 4 to 5%. You can increase that percent or whatever. If you're not familiar with promoted listings, just do a quick Google search or whatever. You'll be able to see. I would explain it, but I had to go to class, guys. I'm sorry. I wanted to get this video done for you. So I'm a little skeptical about them, but let's have a conversation about that in the chat too. Let's talk about it. We're headed into the holiday season here, people. Let's get our sales up. Let's help each other. Another thing that you guys can do in the chat, share whatever tips, secrets to success you have that if you've increased your sales, let's talk about it. Like I said, last week we did $2,600 in sales, which was our best week. And then this week, we're back on track for that too. These are ways to make your sales consistent from my experience. So try them out. Let me know what you think. So far, the past 4 or 5 days maybe have been $300 plus days for me. So these things are working. Let's get a conversation going in the chat. In the comment section, I'm sorry, I don't have chat. I'm not quite to the level of sophistication where I do live videos, but maybe someday. So not the chat, just the comments. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, for watching, tuning in. I actually have to run to class, so I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.